All right. Let's do this. Getting these last second invites in, guys. This is the drill. We'd ask you to do the same thing right here. If you're part of the drill, we appreciate that. Because I share this to the networks. I put this on my story. I share this out to my page. Lions win. That's got to feel pretty good, right? Yeah. Here we are. Hey, Dan, I took care of that thing for you. You like that? You like that? We're gonna buy the kneecap off. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Dwayne. Good morning, Rick. Good morning, Fred. Show me what team that you represent into the comments right there. We're assuming that you're Lions fans because we're 7-2, baby. Let's go. What's up, Tim? What's up, Scotty Reno? Detroit fan man in the house. Yeah, that's what we do right there. Welcome one, welcome all to the program. It is Monday. It's review day. This is Football Talk with your boy. I'm your boy, Russell Wayne, in the house, and my co-host, Main Event Mike. How are you doing?
Victory Monday, my friend, feels good.
Victory Monday feels very awesome. We are streaming live into NFC North main event. The Detroit Lions villain squad right here. We are approaching 10,000. We are approaching 10,000 followers right there. If you have not followed our page yet, we are representing the Honolulu Blue. We are the villains. We are the super villains right there. The villain squad. Please give us a follow. Detroit Lions News, Joe Chapp and company. We love you guys. You guys put out content like us, and you guys work hard. You're the blue-collar Detroit Lion covering news style right there. They got a show tonight at 5:30, and then we got the NFC North open mic at 7 o'clock, man. So we got a full boat here on Detroit Lions News and a full boat here on the Villain Squad, man. So Lions win. Oh, we want to start there. Look at that. You had Manny the Main went over there to L.A. and said, hey, Dan, I took care of that thing for you. And they did. They went out to L.A. and they took care of business. Jared Goff, right in front of his home crowd, lighting it up, taking care of business. Taking care of business. We've been taking care of business. You all right, Mike? You look like you're deep in conversation right there, or like
I'm trying to dig up a good stat on the Packers, and I can't.
Well, here's the truth about the Packers right here. They were looking around the corner right there, looking at all them good teams right there, hiding. You ain't hiding from nobody. You know, we discovered some fun things right here while we're getting these things started right there. But congratulations on the Vikings and their win right there. You guys win against the grain right there. I am done betting against the Vikings. That is a legitimate playoff team with that with that new quarterback and the newfound youth in the defense. Let's hear from TJ Hawkins.
I was never in this for the money. But it turns out that the money was an absolute necessity for me.
Okay, so, I mean, I'm glad that you got that all cleared up right there. And then Jared Goff, I mean, you know, what does Jared Goff got to say about this?
There's no one that can match me. My style is impetuous. My defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious.
Okay, well, he's ferocious. He went out there and he took care of business. Don't you think? I mean, he went out there and Jared Goff played like a top 10 quarterback in this league. When, I mean, that offense that the Lions put out there looks unstoppable. That wasn't no chump defense sitting right there. That was Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack. And Jared Goff said, you didn't even touch him. They didn't even touch him. He sat back there. No problem. No big deal. No big deal. But let's go in here and put the little shout out right here. Thank you to Ifatu Melifanu for shouting out our show right here, and I'll play that for you.
What's up, y'all? This is Ifatu Melifanu, safety for the Detroit Lions, and I just want to take some time out to give a big shout out to Russell Wayne and Main Event Mike from the Detroit Lions Villain Squad. It's a fan page and a podcast, and I just want to say I appreciate the support of me and my team, and I encourage everyone to go check out their podcast and check out their fan page. Go Lions.
Thank you so much to Ifatu getting back to us so quickly right there and giving us a shout out, man. We just a bunch of nobodies on here doing this thing. 11 a.m. every single day. Coming right in here. What about the Packers?
I told him I thank you, baby, and it's for my favorite lady. Well, I gotta go. They just let me know that I could pick up my Mercedes.
Okay, I guess.
You got a new toy, Russ. You got a new toy.
I'm telling you, man, we're gonna change the game on this program right here. I tell you what, we're putting these pictures together. I got a whole bunch of them. I'm gonna have a whole bunch more of them for tonight, but I got a couple of things right there. And this is like, what would Dan Campbell say with all these Bear fans pumping their chests out right there? And I think this is what might happen.
You serious?
I know you, man. You spring those on me. You were sandbagging just to get a natural reaction on me.
Natural reaction, man. We're going to change the game here in the mornings right here. We're going to have some fun with this, man. The Lions are 7-2. The Packers are awful. They're in witness protection. They're like the worst fan base on planet Earth, minus A-Dub. I feel bad for you, A-Dub, that you got to surround yourself with such lousy fans that completely like abandon their team, abandon all of their huffy chests, can't even show up to the smack talking. We were 1-6 in here, and you guys came in here in droves, man. I didn't even have enough room on our open mics. I had to like kick people off of the stage because we had so many Packer fans in here running their mouths about how great they were going to be. And where are they at now? I had to listen to you guys. And, if they win a couple games, I'm assuming that we're probably going to have a couple of Viking fans on here too, because they're starting to do good. Sarah is a great Viking fan. I'm hoping that she's in here at least on her, celebrating. She gets to celebrate, right? Tim says that Rick, that's me too. Rick is a good morning to Rick. Good morning to Tim. Good morning to Paul. Good morning to Ken. Look at this. Bear Down Mike said Jack Campbell got a stiff arm from hell.
Keenan Allen.
Good win.
A veteran, savvy, tough, big receiver. He's a rook. He got a stiff arm. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he did. He got a stiff arm, and that's a great effort by somebody that lost the football game. Steve is real. Yeah. I was playing the Tom Clancy's Wildlands in the Division II during the Jets and Raiders game. Yeah, that was almost as bad as the Bears game on Thursday night. Yeah, I'm telling you, these streaming services that are paying the NFL to get these exclusive games are getting their asses handed to them. And I don't know if the NFL is doing it on purpose, but I don't know. These are some snoozers that they got going on Thursday nights, and these primetime games. I mean, come on, man, come on. We could do better than that. Victory Monday, says Paul. Yeah, Mike is still digging up stats in here.
I'm done.
It's like anybody else got it better. No. We're 7-2. We're about ready. The Lions have a really good chance right here, and I want to segue into this question that I have for Bear fans that are out there. That kind of segues into this game that we got coming up this week between the Bears and the Lions. It's like, do you want them to win? Okay, now that you have the number 1 pick secured with Carolina. That was the one win that you guys could win and actually improve your draft status. But now you have the 1 and the 3 right now. You got Kyler Murray, who's playing, and he was their franchise quarterback. They're paying all the money to. I mean, they could win a couple extra games right here. You guys could end up with the 1 and 2 overall picks. So how concerned are you, Bear Down Mike, with beating the Detroit Lions next week? Are you guys vying to get 1 and 2, Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison Jr.? What do you think about that, Mike?
It's definitely in the realm of possibility. Justin Fields is going to be coming back, taking over the reins from Tyson Bagent. Is that going to help them? I don't know. They got to play the Lions twice. That's going to be tough for them. right? So yeah, it's well with. I mean, Carolina's stink. They stink. They're probably going to end up with the worst record in the NFL, and the Bears will get that first overall pick. Now, where their second pick ends up at is going to be that we can't say for sure. We can't even speculate because what impact is Kyler Murray coming back going to have on Arizona? And what impact is Justin Fields going to have on the Chicago Bears? Those are the unknowns, and we're going to have to wait and see. But it's certainly in the realm of possibility they could have the 1 and the 2 pick. I'm confident no matter what, they'll do something dumb.
In that, well, they have a couple can't miss products right there. Marvin Harrison Jr. is awesome. Like I was just watching the game this week, and it's just like this kid is unbelievable, man. I mean, everything that you would ever want out of a wide receiver: the pedigree, the bloodline, the work ethic, the humbleness, like all of it,
toughness,
the toughness. He is the best player in the nation, and right there, you're in the running. You can get both those guys. So, how do you feel out there, Bear Down Mike? These guys. Let me get back down here at the bottom, just in case I answer my question right here.
But I don't have any faith in the Bears' ability to evaluate talent. Right? I mean, C.J. Stroud looks like a no-brainer at this point, but the Bears missed on that again, like they missed on Mahomes.
Right. Let me see. Bear fans are not pumping out their chests. Okay. So that's what I have. And that's the question I want to ask is how you guys feeling on that?
I got to jump in on this one. Ken Doby has been in the main event chat, in the back chat, talking big smack about the Lions. Ken, I'm sorry, Ken. That's the same as puffing out your chest over a Bears win. Okay. That's the same. When you're in the back chat running down the Lions, him and Jake Dilling are having a big conflict going on in the chat. Yeah, we love, man. I'm so glad there's Bears fans in here. I mean, even when the Packers were in here talking shit, Minnesota was in here talking shit, the Bears fans were still here. And then when all those teams start losing, the Bear fans still stuck it out because they're like the Lions fans. This is not new territory to them getting beat down, getting smack talked into oblivion by the other teams. This is not new to them. They're tough. They're tough like the Lions fans. They don't go run and hide when their team loses. So kudos to the Bears fan. I shouldn't run them down at all. In fact, I'm not going to. I'm going to.
No, it's a real question.
I like Tyson Bagent. I think they can win 4 or 5 games more and still finish with a respectable record this year.
Yeah, I mean, we're not running. I love the Bear. The Bear fans are the ones that stuck it in here. Yeah, you got called out for your Jacksonville call. But you know, they ran into a buzzsaw. You know, good teams when they get beat down and they lose games in a row, like San Francisco. I mean, Jacksonville ran into a buzzsaw. It happens. It happens. Good teams get beat. Sometimes good teams get beat down. Yeah, Eagles got to go to Arrowhead next week. We got the Bears coming into town. Number 1 seed is in sight. Time to pounce, Lions. Let's fucking go. I like that call, Rick. That is
a rematch of the Super Bowl next week. And those happen to be the 2 teams with the best records in the league, plus Lions.
Absolutely. Thunder and lightning strikes in L.A. We got a good morning from A-Dub, the best Packer fan on planet Earth right there. Yep. Good morning. And also, does Main Event Mike's
Detroit fan, man, you're the best. Good call. Absolutely. My microphone was pointing away. I was just wasn't even paying attention. I don't know what about the call out is about the Jacksonville win, though, right? My reaction to it, I don't know what that was about. I said they're the streakiest team in the league. They're up, they're down. They could get blown out or they could win this game. I'll take Jacksonville since you took San Francisco ahead of me. Otherwise, I would have took the Niners if you'd have took Jacksonville.
Bear Down Mike says Hawkinson had a huge day. Yes, they did. The thing is like I got off of the Minnesota sucking. Like I got off that bandwagon about 4 weeks back when I had to eat the crow after they won their first division game. And I thought they were going to go defeated in the division. I had to eat the crow, man. I can't hate on the Minnesota Vikings. That 32nd ranked defense lost all of the I guess, shitty players that they had on that defense, and they were replaced with younger and better players that are playing under Brian Flores.
No,
And
Mike, go ahead.
And to Mike's point here, TJ Hawkinson, there's no question about how good that offense was. And now it seems like Dobbs is actually running this offense just as good or better than Kirk Cousins was. And let's go.
And to Mike's point, Hawk 11 catches, 134 yards and a touchdown. That's damn good. But you know what? You're the highest paid tight end in the league. You better be putting up numbers like that for as much money as you're getting. So yeah, kudos to the Vikings and kudos to TJ.
What was it?
I was never in this for the money. But it turns out that the money was an absolute necessity for me.
What is that from?
I it's just they have a whole bunch of the sayings in there, and I look for some of the things that work with the idea of the guy. So I have no idea.
Okay,
like The Office or something like that.
Right, probably The Office.
Yeah, something like that. But we got Ken Doby in the backstage. We want to talk some Bears.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they played on Thursday, so now he's here on Monday.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Welcome to the program.
Hey, just a couple corrections for you. Right now, the Bears have the 1 and the 5. You got the Giants at 2, and they're terrible, and they're trending the wrong way. You got New England at 3, Arizona at 4, and they're gonna, like you said, Mike, they're gonna do better now. We saw it already yesterday. They're gonna move up. Then you got the Bears at 5, the Packers at 6. The Rams, who knows which way they're trending, at 7, and so on and so forth. So the Bears aren't going to have a shot at 1-2. They don't want a shot at 1-2. Yeah, I've been messing with our boy in the back room there because, well, dude, you say anything remotely, anything that say, oh, the Lions might lose a game this year. Oh, you're an asshole. Okay, I'm sorry. I said you might lose a game this year. So I'm messing with Dylan because I can. But this week, gents, look at the Bears are what the Lions were last year. That's what I'm, Russell, we've talked about this before, Mike, we talked about this before. You've seen the steady improvement in certain aspects of this Bears team. The Bears are becoming what the Lions were last year, like we said this would be before the season started. So the three of us got it right. We knew this is where the Bears would be. I think it's hilarious that people are talking about them drafting Caleb Williams, because I don't think they want to touch Caleb Williams with the Packers pick even. Well, we might want to send him to Green Bay, but
you got to make the pick, though. You got to make the pick. I mean, how are you feeling that you traded down from 1 to 9, and now C.J. Stroud might not only win Offensive Rookie of the Year, but there's talk about him winning the outright MVP of the league.
because as you know, the draft is like roulette, and how many first-round picks don't make it past their rookie contract? About half. So I mean, it's Russian roulette. I mean, look at why the Panthers they went in our direction too. A lot of teams do this every draft. A lot of teams should have drafted Aaron Rodgers.
That's not good company to be in. You're comparing yourself to the Panthers.
This isn't unique, though. It's like every team should have drafted Aaron Rodgers. He didn't go to the second round. So I mean, everyone should have drafted Tom Brady. Everyone should have drafted, a lot. There are a lot of guys we can go back and go down that list. No,
Aaron Rodgers was a first-round draft pick. He just slid in the draft down
to the very, 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 very end. We all had a
percent.
Yeah, but not every team has picks Mitch Trubisky when Mahomes is on the board, and then comes around, and then you could have had Justin Herbert, or you could have traded up for any one of these guys. You take Justin Fields.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda. Oh my goodness, we wanted to analyze every.
Well, here's 3 times in a row
could have had
you should have all over yourself.
Russell, if I take your argument, then I can say, well, the Lions should have drafted better teams and won a playoff game.
My team's 7-2. What are you talking about?
I mean.
My team's 7-2. My team's better than your team, and you're going to come into Ford Field and you're going to get curb stomped this week.
Yeah, right now you are better than my team, but I'm saying
next year and the year after that, and for the future, we ain't giving it back.
Russell,
We ain't giving it
by
back.
your argument, the line, because the Bears should have drafted better. They should have drafted Mahomes and not Trubisky. Well, where were the Lions in all these years in their drafting? Because you guys haven't won a playoff game in 30 years.
I'm
That's
asking
called
you.
that's called whataboutism.
I know exactly. Thank you, Mike. That's exactly what Russell's doing.
No, that's exactly what you're doing. I'm asking you a question, and you're answering my question by asking me the same question back.
No, I'm
my
saying we're
team has drafted
good.
well the last 3 years,
And so
and we're
is mine.
7-2.
Mine has drafted well the last couple years, and they'll continue. And if I have faith in Poles, he'll continue to draft well.
So, but yeah, I do take offense to say that you are where we are. You had a chance to be where we're at. You have a quarterback controversy right now, and
No.
2 below average quarterbacks. Like that's where you're at right now. Last year at this time, my team started winning games, and we've always had the same quarterback. There's no quarterback controversy in Detroit, so I don't see how you think teams are the same.
You and Mike can say there's a quarterback controversy in Chicago, but as far as Chicago's concerned, there's no quarterback.
Yeah, 2 bad quarterbacks are battling it out, and you don't have
and
one.
Last year, everyone said Jared Goff was a bad quarterback.
And I'm gonna have to educate you on your own fan base. Your fan base is split right down the middle on the quarterback. I'll have you.
No, you got
go check. No, that's
stuff
not my
out there.
opinion. That's not my opinion. You can go look in all the groups, all the chats. Bears fans, half of them want Justin, half of them want Tyson, and that's just a fact.
And I don't care what they want. What the front office wants, as far as the front office is concerned, there's no quarterback controversy. So if the coaching staff and the GM says there's no controversy and this is our guy, then that's their guy. Fans are going to do what they want. They're going to do the clickbait they want to, make that click revenue on Facebook. But we do it too. I mean, hey, I'll be honest, we do it too. But in all honesty, no, Justin is a quarterback when he comes back, and unless he really, as Woody says, shits the bed really bad, he's going to be the quarterback next year. We got next year plus the 5th-year option. We got control on him for a while. There's no reason to jump the gun. Look, I think with our first pick, with the number 1 pick, 1 of 2 things is going to happen. If we have the number 1 pick, we're going to
pick a quarterback
again. We're going to trade out of it again for another haul. All right, and that haul, we're talking like maybe you want to go to 2, 3, or 4. We don't go too far back because we want to pick up, I think, Marvin Harrison Jr. So, and that's in scenario 2 is if we can't trade back and still think we can get Harrison Jr., we spend number 1 on Harrison Jr. And I think that's what the Bears are going to do with that first pick, and then they're going to the trenches. They're going O-line, D-line.
So what do you think out there? What do you think out there? Do you think the Bears are going to trade out of that pick? Or you think, like I think, that they're going to take a quarterback 100%? What do you think, Mike? What do you think that the Bears would do? You think they're going to take a quarterback with one of those 2 picks?
No, as much as I hate it, I agree with Ken. I think they are going to commit to Justin Fields. I think that if Ryan Poles lets go of Justin Fields, or if he drafts a quarterback, that other half of the Chicago fan base is going to crucify him for that. They love this kid. The kid's upside is enormous. It's maybe the biggest of any player in the whole league, maybe ever. This kid is got a lot of upside. He just can't seem to get it together reading the defense. If he does, and the end of this year is going to be the tail.
What do you mean if he does? His entire rookie contract he spent. He can't throw the ball.
Coordinators, Russ. It's hard for a guy like that to come along and learn new offenses. So I agree with Ken. I don't think they're going to draft Caleb Williams with the 1st overall pick. That's wasn't that the question? I think they will trade out and get a haul like they did. It worked out well for them for DJ Moore. They trade back and get the 2nd best right tackle in the country at number 9. So, they did okay. I like Ryan Poles. You and I agree that he's slick. Yeah, I like this guy. I think they're right to let him run the ship. And I don't think they draft Caleb Williams with the number 1. They're going to ride Justin Fields, just like Ken says. All he has to do is not suck terribly.
Right.
And honestly,
okay, so you 2 are in agreement right there. I want to know what you guys think out there. I mean, I honestly believe that Ryan Poles, he doesn't have any tie to Eberflus. He doesn't have any tie to
Eberflus is gone.
Eberflus and then Justin Fields. He didn't draft Justin Fields either. I think that this is a great chance for him to take the slate clean with the nice core of talent that he's built over the last couple of years and start it forward right there with a quarterback and a new coach that can coach that quarterback and get what you can for Justin Fields And, then you have a quarterback and Marvin Harrison Jr. right there. I think that's the play. But, okay.
Well, I mean, you can't get both, though, Russell, because you're not going to be 1-2, number one.
Yeah. You don't say they're going to be 1-2. I don't think that you guys are going to be moving up all that fast right there. You guys got a lot of problems right here. You guys could pick absolutely 1 and 2.
Okay, no, we're at 1 and 5, and this team is trending in the right direction, whereas like New York is trending in the opposite direction.
You beat the Panthers, bro.
Okay, so did we still get him? Do we still have more wins in New York?
Yeah, you won the one game that improves your draft status. It ain't your pick, but you won the one game that improves your draft status at this point by beating the worst team in the NFL by a field goal.
Which is what we had to do, was just win. A W.
Sure,
W,
it just win. We won our game by a field goal too.
That was a fun game.
Yeah, it was.
And you know what? Yeah. That game came down. We were talking in the back, and that game came down. I was like, whoever gets to stop first, and I said no. Whoever runs out of time is going to lose. And the Rams happened to run out of time, the Chargers happened to run out of time because that game, neither defense was stopping anybody yesterday.
Oh, I want to say something here. If I'm Ryan Poles.
Yeah,
I am going to flirt with the idea of taking Caleb Williams just to keep that leverage, to let some team, but I don't really think he has an intention of it. I love what Ken said. This guy wants to get as much as he can because his team is so depleted, right? So what? You let go of Caleb Williams. There's Penix, there's Drake May. There are other quarterbacks they can get inside the top 10 and still have a great rookie quarterback coming in that they can control. And they can get a haul, like Ken said, for that number 1 pick, right? You might even be able to get a trade back up. Once you make that trade, you'll get so much capital, you might be able to use some of the trade back in and get Marvin Harrison.
And what
teams are going to need a quarterback that are at the bottom? The Giants, you keep talking about. Daniel Jones, they just gave him a 2-year contract.
Big contract, yeah.
But it's only 2 years. So it's a big contract, but it's only 2 years. So let Daniel Jones play next year, but bring in a rookie on draft day and let him learn in that first year under Daniel Jones. And then Daniel Jones is gone. So the Giants could easily take Caleb Williams if they end up with the first pick.
And to add to that, too, what we saw with Badgett playing the last couple of weeks, I think the Bears, they wouldn't hand the reins over to him, but they're comfortable enough with him as being the backup and a possible guy who could have a long future in this league, that alone, because you have 2 years more of Justin Field control on a cheap contract, they might be willing to say, well, we're going to stand pat at the quarterback position. And if Justin's 1A, right, then Badgett's 1B. And if Justin doesn't work out, we can turn to Badgett. We think he'd be good enough to run this team if he doesn't. And if we need to address the quarterback, we can go back into the draft and do that. And I think that's kind of the way some of the mindset and thinking, because Badgett really has been a pleasant surprise as an undrafted free agent. Well, hell, we all know the story, but he's been a pleasant surprise, and he can game manage, and he's going to get better, as he goes on in his career. I mean, at worst, he's a solid backup for any team in this league, and I think the Bears aren't going to get rid of him; they're going to keep him. So I don't think there's no impetus to draft a quarterback in Chicago. It's going to be, we need to do other areas. We need to, Marvin Harrison Jr. would be a great weapon, and then we need to shore up the lines, and we need to start looking at safeties and corners, because we've got Jalen Johnson. I don't know if we're going to re-sign him. And then you've got Eddie Jackson, who's getting a little long in the tooth as far as Foles is considered.
What the hell is that?
I don't know. And I read that earlier. I don't know what Rick is drinking this morning, or it doesn't look like to me or anyone that he's lost interest. He's been very involved with this team throughout his time as being injured. I mean, you see him and Caleb talking all the time, and you see him talking, Well,
but doesn't that just go to Main Event Mike's point right there, where he says that your fan base is divided? I mean, sometimes you have this overbearing Ken Doby kind of, this is how we feel, and they don't all feel that way. Not everybody's sold on Field. I mean, really, there was a comment in here from Jeremy Ballrock right here that I liked right here that says that, dang it, where did it go? He was talking about how Badgett had the win. Why would you want to take the continuity away and change that right now, since Badgett's starting to play better with the team?
That's
Why would
because you
want an
can't
inch?
because you can't lose your position due to injury is the unwritten rule in the NFL.
Yeah, and they've already
Unless
made
you're
the
Drew
commitment.
Bledsoe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep,
And
there's a comment right
they
there.
kind of made the commitment to him as well. Look at he might be right. I mean, it could be a mistake bringing him back when we're winning with Badgett, but they also have to. Okay, let's walk the dog here. Are the Bears going to make the playoffs this year?
No.
No.
Okay, so would you rather see what you have in Justin going forward now, or just wait till next year to see what you've got in Justin?
I would rather see what I have in Badgett because I already know what I have in Justin.
Badgett as a rookie though. I mean, that's a good fair point, but I think they're going to go with Fields because Fields is the more immediate contractual need than say Badgett would be.
Well, I mean, if I'm moving on. To me, I've seen what I need to see out of Fields. I would like to sell him down the road to somebody that I would think would want to buy the bullshit that is Justin Fields. And I would work and see what I got with Badgett. And I have 1-5 right now. Okay. Like, I'm feeling good. You can't keep filling up the team with draft picks. Eventually they have to pan out. Right.
You know what Badgett reminds me of? Another Chicago favorite right now. He reminds me of the neckbeard. He's a Kyle Orton right now. He's a game manager. He's not a dynamic play quarterback right now. Now, could he become that down the road? Possibly. But do we already have that sitting on this roster? Yeah, we do. Justin Fields can make those. Look at the.
He can't run like Fields, but he damn sure throws the ball better than Fields does.
He can't throw. No, Fields throws a bigger ball than Badgett does, and Badgett will tell you that himself.
So if you're Eberflus, you're going with Justin Fields. Like you're still in that category too. Okay, that's fine.
Look, if I think the Bears, this Bears team, like I said, I think we're kind of like where the Lions were last year. We're a team that's building. If there's anything that I still would like to see improve, besides some personnel, we need some line depth, still O-line, D-line. I mean, I love the Montez Sweat signing. We're still going to have to need another defensive end because I don't think they're going to re-sign Ngakoue. My biggest issue right now is still the coaching on the offensive side of the ball. I don't like what our OC is doing. I think a lot of people want, if you want to talk about a division in the fan base, it's whether Eberflus gets fired. I think Flus saves his job this year because what much the defense has improved because from last year to this year. And he can say, well, I need a new offensive coordinator. Give me another year. And I think he can buy himself another year by firing his offensive coordinator, bringing in another guy, and seeing if he can right the ship on offense because the ship is riding on defense. It is riding. So I think that's more of the discussion we're going to see that's really going to divide the fan base is, does Eberflus get fired? Or does he stay? And the wild card of all this is if Harbaugh comes out tomorrow and says, hey, guys, I'm leaving Michigan. Oh, hell, I can see the clickbait for the next 30 years.
Right on. I don't know how. I mean, should we talk about some? I mean, the Bears played not Sunday, but like the Thursday from before. We had a whole slew of games that were yesterday, and we have spent 27 minutes talking about the Bears.
So
what do you want to hit, Mike? How about you make the decision? Where do you want to go? Do you want to stay on this?
I want to talk about the team that's leading the division. That's what I'd like to talk about. The 7-2 Detroit Lions, 41-38 on the road, out on the West Coast where they notoriously are terrible. They haven't won out there since 2011. It's a shootout game. Dan Campbell, 4 of 5 on fourth down. The one time he doesn't get it is at the goal line for the second consecutive fourth down on the goal line. Unbelievable.
Let's hear it from Dan. Dan, why do you go for it so much on fourth down?
60% of the time, it works every time.
There's the logic right there. So that's the why it works.
What about fourth down is a myth?
Fourth down is a myth. I don't have access to bring that one into the stream yard. You got to bring that one in.
That's okay.
Hey, anyway. Your coach is a trendsetter because I watched a lot of games yesterday, and I swear there were a lot of teams on it. I mean, there's a lot of teams. Fourth down is just an extra down to get it. I mean, I would be interested to see if they crunch the numbers how the punt numbers have just dropped, the amount of punts in the league, because I swear almost every team does this now. Is if it's 4th and 1, 4th and 2.
Yeah, and you're giving credit. You're giving it credit to Dan Campbell for that.
Yeah,
is what you're saying.
He's the one who started it, really.
Here's what's.
There's no one that can match me. My style is impetuous. My defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious.
I'll tell you
what. He comes in whenever he wants. I'm sorry.
The biggest takeaway for me on this game was 0 sacks for the Lions, 0 sacks for the Chargers. This was a shootout in every respect. He who has the ball last is going to win the game, and Dan Campbell knew that, and that's how he played it, and he secured the win. But this vaunted LA Chargers front four, we neutralized it with a great O-line. This O-line's still the strength of the team. Lions rush for 200 yards, okay? They hold the Chargers to under 100 rushing. Jared Goff, listen to this stat line, Russ. I know you'll appreciate this. This is such a Jared Goff stat line. 23 of 33, 2 touchdowns, a 122.4, 0 interceptions. That's a typical Jared Goff stat line right there. 33 attempts, 23 completions. You got to love that. The running game on fire. David Montgomery back from injury, gets 12 catches, 116 yards. That epic 75-yard run sprung by J-Mo with a great block to get him down the sidelines. Just like Ken said, a super entertaining game. Really, usually the kind of game the Lions lose. This game was different. This team is different. In the words of a great Canadian, talk about it.
Hey, you know what? Career long for Montgomery, that 75. I don't think he ever ran one.
You know what's really funny about that play was like they talked about it afterwards. They called the wrong. Ben Johnson called the wrong play. They didn't have the correct personnel for the play that they called. So that was actually just a like an audible run, just like run to the left side that just so happened to work for David Montgomery on there. But he called a play that was within the progression. So nice heads up play by our leader, Jared Goff right there.
And that move that he made in the middle of the field before he bolted for the sideline, he had 3 defenders all crash on each other and he was gone. A beautiful run. And Jahmyr Gibbs, my goodness, that first drive, that first half, he was a total beast. They could not stop him. Anything he did. This is what we talked about at the beginning of the year, Russ, with the depth and the big bullies up front. When the season starts to wear on and these defenses start to get tired, we're going to drag them out to the deep water. And we're looking at Jahmyr Gibbs as a rookie who's got very low miles in the NFL on him. He looks so fresh every time he touches the ball in the third quarter, just as fresh as he looked in the first quarter. And I think that's what we're going to see going down the stretch. And teams like Chicago, they're playing well now. They're going to have a hard time with Detroit Lions. They are. I'm sorry. Minnesota Vikings, they're going to have a hard time with Detroit Lions. So it's going to be very interesting to see how it goes down the stretch.
Yeah, I love the run game. For the first time in a long time right here, they got a run game. It looks like Brad Holmes might be the smartest guy in the room when it comes to how everybody kind of poo-pooed the pick for it being one of those high picks right there. But he's proven to be much more than just a running back. He was out there lined up while Montgomery was out there. They're just putting him all over the field with the weapon. I mean, right now this offense looks unstoppable. I mean,
let it be known that on this podcast here on draft day, when Jahmyr Gibbs was drafted, everyone on this show called that this was a good pick. So we can all do this right now, raise our cup, because we all got it right. And he played well. And I did check. That was a career long for Montgomery.
He played for the Bears.
Yeah. When he played for the Bears, he never busted off a 75-yard.
We're going to bite a kneecap off.
So, no, because, the rub on him when he was with the Bears was, well, he doesn't have that top-end speed. Half the Bear fans, because we're Bear fans, like, oh, yeah, we have to get rid of him. He's not a speedster. And the other half, like, no, we love this guy. And when you guys signed him, like Mike and I both said, you guys are going to love him. And you guys have loved him. You guys have a great 1-2 punch in the backfield right now. Really, in the division, the only 2 teams that can run the ball probably consistently are the Detroit Lions and the Chicago Bears. The Vikings are starting to find their way in the running back game a little bit. And the Packers, the only reason I don't include them is because of injury. And so they haven't really gotten it off. But make no mistake, this division runs the football, and right now you guys have a great 1-2 punch in the backfield.
And just to validate what you said there, you definitely, I remember it very clearly, Ken, you said you were going to love this guy. We love this guy, and you're getting a really good player. And I remember you telling us that. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I remember that very explicitly, that we had the Packer fans that are ghosting us right now, that are in witness protection, were on there messing with us, telling us that the pick was Christian Gonzalez or Jahmyr Gibbs. And when the pick was picked, we had a confused look on our face, but it wasn't because of the pick. It was because there were 3 picks that were all over the place. Then we didn't know which one was the one that we actually drafted. I mean, I admittedly didn't.
Ken was there with us on draft day.
Yep.
I remember that. He was the only one that stuck with us the whole time.
Ken made it through the entire marathon of the draft, because, I mean, not only the draft day, but you were with me on the next 2 days doing second and third day and picking all these picks that nobody even knows now. But
we're probably like,
hold on, Ken. We are going to conclude talking about the Bears. But before we do that, I wanted to ask you, how about the experience going to New Orleans with your son for his first Bears game? Just give us a quick synopsis of that.
So, yeah, I mean, look, going to NOLA was a great experience. I've been to a few away games. It was an easy stadium to get in and out of. The stadium itself was phenomenal. The atmosphere was great. Tons of Bears fans there. After the first touchdown, you could actually hear them chanting, "Let's go Bears," which is always impressive when you can do that in the away stadium. But first time at the Dome, hope to go back. I'll tell you what, the one thing that's different, fellas, and I don't know if they've done this at Ford Field yet. When you go to the concession stand now, it's not like that old school, you wait in a line and you tell some person what you want. You actually walk in, grab a drink from the cooler, go grab a box of food of whatever you want from the warmer, and self-checkout. There was no line. It took me like 2 seconds and $32 to get my 2 slices of pizza and 2 drinks.
Wow.
But loved the game itself. I mean, it was just a fun experience. NFL games, let's face it, it's pricey. You're going to spend $500 to $1,000 with a family of 4. For 2 of you is going to be about $500 between tickets and parking. But you know what? Had a blast. And, the Bears, I swear, New Orleans tried to give the Bears the win.
Mm-hmm.
We just weren't taking it that day. But it was a great experience, and he loved it. And, you like to see your team win, but it was still just great for him. He was sitting there analyzing every single route that every single wide receiver ran the entire game. And even he knew what the play call was when the Bears would line up. Like he said, this is going to be a run. This is going to be a pass to this guy. He was calling them. So if my 16-year-old sophomore in high school can correctly call the Chicago Bears offense when they line up, what do you think a defensive coordinator can do?
He probably had Jim Harbaugh on the cell.
Yeah,
getting all the line. Well, that's great to hear, Ken. I'm so glad he had a good time, and I'm kind of a little bummed the Bears didn't win, for him to be able to witness that, because Russ and I are all about that, about the family experience. For us, honestly, it sounds like hyperbole, but it's absolutely true. That means more to us than the actual game does, is the memories and the things that you make, and the way that football plays a part in your life rather than the wins and losses.
And you know what was funny? As we're walking out, we had several Bears fans who recognized me from this podcast and Hal Howard. And he thought that was the coolest thing. He's like, "Dad, someone recognized you from the podcast?" And I was like,
"Wow,
that's cool."
He thought that was the coolest thing. Like, "Wow, Dad, someone knows you from a podcast." I'm like, "Well, you're on the podcast too, because every Sunday for pregame, you'll usually see him in this chair right here." Right. And he does the game. So it was kind of,
that is awesome, man. Like one dude says, "Hey, isn't that Ken Dobie from the podcast?" The other guy goes, "Yeah, don't say nothing. He won't stop talking."
We're gonna buy the kneecap off.
Oh gosh, good stuff.
Hey, who are the Packers? I mean, we know who we play this week. Who are the Packers and the Vikings?
Packers get the Chargers, the pissed off Chargers.
Now, I want you guys to notice the thing that I made here, because this is how irrelevant the Packers. Yeah, it's like all big. It was the Lions versus the Chargers, and the Vikings. Now, I didn't put the Bears on there because they played on Thursday. Okay, right. I just made this wasn't supposed to turn anything Bears, because we gave Bears a lot of love. This was not a disrespect of the Bears, but look right up there next to the football talk, little tiny guy. Hey, hey guys, guess what? Hey, Hey,
Well,
wait
you
a
know
minute,
what's great was
hey,
after
but
the
they're
game.
still fired up though, Ken. They're
Oh
still
yeah,
fired
after
up
the game,
there.
you're like,
Yep.
you're
Check
like,
them
oh,
out, thank
Jordan,
you, baby. And it's for my favorite lady. Well, I gotta go. They just let me know that I could pick up my Mercedes.
To become a Mercedes. Oh gosh, I don't know about that team.
Hey Russell, you know what was great? After the game, a couple of their fans like Jordan Love had a hell of a game. I'm like, what, throwing interceptions in the end zone is having a hell of a game? Yeah.
It's my quarterback.
His quarterback rating was 71.8. That's a hell of a game.
You know what? I felt so bad for him, man. I mean, I didn't know what to do. So I asked Jared Goff. I was like, can you make Jordan Love feel any better about himself? So he sent this.
Love hurts. Love scars. Love wound and mark.
Thank you, Jared. I mean, I hope that would make me feel better.
Russell's got a new toy. We got to be careful.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, this is over.
For the first one that crosses him, you're next.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, LaFleur?
I want to know what love is.
Dude, I mean, come on. I'm gonna be here all day. Hey, it's a new level right now. Tell them about the show tonight, Mike.
Oh, the show tonight is the NFC North Open Mic Night. It's a trash talk show, kinda. 7 p.m. Eastern time. Every Monday we do this. It's going to be a good 3 teams in the division got a win this week. 1 did not. So we might actually see some Bears and Vikings fans in there this week. NFC North Open Mic tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Be there.
Yeah, and absolutely, we've had fun on here today, so I know that I've neglected some of these comments in here.
Hey, Sarah's on. We should talk about her Vikings.
Is she on? Is Sarah on? I'm looking for Sarah.
Yeah,
I
see her.
You know, while you find her, I'll run through the stats for the Minnesota game.
There you go.
Something we hadn't touched on. Their new quarterback, the Pastronaut, Josh Dobbs. Sounds like a Jared Goff stat line here. 23 of 34. 1 touchdown, a quarterback rating of 101.1. Ty Chandler running the ball, 15 carries, 45 yards, and a touchdown. They end up running the ball for 125 yards total in the game, which is something they have not been able to do well this year. Even in wins, they're not able to run the ball well. TJ Droppinson, 11 catches, 134 yards, a touchdown. We did say that. Here's the real story. Minnesota gets 3 sacks. New Orleans, and they forced Jameis Winston in relief to throw 2 interceptions. That's the real story of the game there. Congratulations to Minnesota getting to 6 wins. Look out, folks.
Oh, man.
And
I don't
Dobbs
know.
is on fire.
Oh, Sarah is in here, but we want to talk good about Sarah because Sarah and I actually made peace about 4 weeks ago in here because I got the Minnesota Vikings wrong at the beginning of the season. We ran the Minnesota Vikings into the mud. All of us did. We thought that it was just way too much. They lost all this on defense. They lost all these guys. Well, guess what? Brian Flores proved all of us wrong. And we have since been talking good about the Minnesota Vikings, and this Josh Dobbs signing might end up being a legendary signing coming down the road because this kid just keeps balling wherever he goes. He seems to have the clutch gene inside of him. You can count on him in big moments to try to do some stuff. So congratulations to Sarah and her Minnesota Vikings, because you guys are right there. You have winnable games coming up, and it may actually come down to week 16 and 18 to figure out who's going to win this division.
Oh, that's going to be fun.
Yeah, they get Bears, Broncos, Raiders.
Yeah.
So, I mean, those are 3 winnable games for Minnesota, and they're already at 6 wins. It gets tough after that, though. Of course, they get Detroit, Green Bay, and Detroit again, and then there's another tough one in there, too, somewhere.
They got Cincinnati. I know
Cincinnati,
that.
Yeah, Cincinnati. So, you know, they could split. They could go 4-4 down the stretch. And
so these next 3 games are like it's like they got hurdles, right? These are hurdles, but all 3 of these games the Lions should win, and all 3 of these games the Vikings should win. They're very winnable, and they're like hurdles. So, I mean, can the Lions and the Vikings jump these 3 hurdles and keep pace with each other? Because it's really a destiny in your own hand type of end of the season right now. Like both teams have it, right? You win your games, you're in.
I mean,
Like,
and they're both tracking for the playoffs for sure. Because if you look at the AFC or the NFC South, I mean, who's going to get in there? I mean,
Yeah, it's true. Right.
you look at the East and the West are basically it, right? The East, you're going to get the Philly, you're going to get Dallas, they're going to get in. In the West, you're going to get San Francisco's going to get in, and then you've got Seattle. Who could get in. So, now you look at the North, well, those are two teams that get in because the Bears aren't going to do it. The Packers aren't going to do it. So, really, they're sitting in a nice spot right now to get in. And we all know all you got to do is get in because, we can just remind ourselves of the 7-9 Giants that actually won the Super Bowl that year, being 7-9. So it's get in. It's a whole new season. It's going to be interesting to see how teams start gaming the Vikings now. I think the problem you had last week and this week is they didn't know how to game the Vikings on a defensive standpoint with Dobbs. Now that they're getting, these guys are getting tape on the Vikings with Dobbs. It'll be interesting to see how the better teams scheme for Dobbs. The Cowgirls might win that division. I hate to say it too.
Wow, that's a good pick, Sarah.
Yeah, I call them the Cowgirls as well.
Philly's looking like the best team in the league right now, and they have the best record in the league. So, that's a stretch, and I appreciate you making a prediction and going on a limb instead of being wishy-washy.
Yeah, didn't they just lose to didn't the Eagles just beat the Cowboys too?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, that's a very far stretch.
So I mean
but that game was in Philly.
Yeah.
Sure, but I mean they're already down and you're down a game.
Yeah, but the Cowboys
that you've
are on
lost
fire
to the
right
games
now.
too.
Yeah, the Cowboys are on absolute fire right now.
Sure, I guess you could say that they're that version of the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings are on fire right now, and I don't think they're going to catch us. But I mean, I even think it could go to 11, 12, 13, 14 wins too. And it ain't because the Lions are that great. It's because we just played the best quarterback we're going to play for the rest of the season.
You just got to worry about your trap games now.
Well, I mean, every single one of them are trap games.
Well, we got to play Dallas. That's a potential loss in Dallas.
Right. I'm just saying Herbert's a better quarterback than Dak Prescott.
Sure, I'll go with that. I'll agree with that. For sure. The toughest part of our schedule was the first 5 games, and we came out of it 4-1. So that bodes very well for the Lions going down the stretch. And wow, these scheduler makers giving the Lions and the Vikings week 16 and 18 against each other at the end. That's going to make it really interesting.
I don't know if I like these division games because you guys get us within a 3 or 4 game stretch too.
Yep,
correct.
I like them more spread out. Like for you guys, I think the Vikings back end of it is hard because it's 2 games in 3 weeks. It's hard to win both. That's more likely a split. Whenever you see a team that close, it's more likely a split. And, even with the Bears and you guys, that could end up being a split just because of the closeness of the games and their division games. We all know how division games go.
You're right. And historically, you would always be safe in this division to count a split for every team in the division, and you wouldn't be far off on your prediction, year in and year out. I think week 18 might be a lot bigger than a lot of these Lions fans thought it was going to be the way the Vikings are coming on. We do get the Vikings at home in week 18. So to your point, Ken, if we go out to Minnesota and we do lose that game, at least we've got them at home for the final week of the season. The division might be on the line at that point, and it'd be nice to be at home.
Well, heck, it could be the seed could be on the line. There's talk now about you guys getting a bye. So I mean
because of the schedule being easy, maybe not because we're the best team.
I mean, the Vikings, that week 18, the Vikings well, we're not going to move, but we can deny Detroit a bye, and I think I would just think an interesting scenario would be a Vikings Cowboys first round game. If that could, I'm not sure how the brackets have to align perfectly, but could you imagine that would be a rematch of your last playoff game? And boy, would that be! I could just imagine the selling of that game. I mean, that's going to be the game to watch.
Well, I mean, we're uncharted territory right now. as far as the Lions go. And I mean, the Vikings have been to the playoffs a lot before, but we don't win playoff games, and we don't go 8-2 either. That I think that this next week, this is a big hurdle. You guys are the hurdle, and I think this is a bigger game for the Lions than you would think, because for one, we just played a game that I think a lot of people might say, hey, our defense let us down. And it to a lot of our fan base, because our fan base is the hardest fan base to please, because we've lost so much. So every time anything even remotely bad goes, we're going to focus on the bad part of it. And a lot of our fan base wants to fire Aaron Glenn today after winning the game. So the defense didn't play well, but they got into a shootout. Like, after a while, it's like when teams are scoring so fast, I was trying to keep up, and Mike was witness to this. I'm sitting here trying to make these clever little like pictures for every single score and everything, and both teams were scoring so damn fast that like I couldn't even get the pictures out. So the second half just ended up being text, like 31, and then post, because I'm like, I can't be creative. You guys are scoring.
You were. I love the one was you said no defense. What was it 35-35, whatever the score was?
No defense.
No defense.
There was no defense. But the thing was, it's like at the end of the game, when you're scoring that fast and you're throwing the defense back out there, all they needed, either defense, was one drive that lasted 10 minutes. Like, let's just extend this out. Let's run some clock and there was no drives. It was like, score, score, score. Because we were scoring just as fast too and putting our defense back out there. So it's like having a great offense sometimes works against you. And I don't know if it's as much on Aaron Glenn not being able to call defenses or anything, but I honestly think that those offenses just ran him to the track, man, and had him running around for like a half.
I got to jump off, Russ. I got a conference call, so I'm gonna part, and I'm going to plug the show. Don't forget, folks, tonight it's 7 p.m. Eastern time, broadcasting live into Facebook. Go over to our YouTube. It's at Main Event 365. It's a real good experience to watch over there as well. NFC North open mic, 7 p.m. Eastern time tonight. It has been 784 days since the Packers have beaten the Lions. God bless you all.
Yeah. Oh, that is such great information. And I love that. I love that so much. Yeah. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. And if you're watching us on YouTube right now, one really cool thing that you can do is just go down and, like, if you were in the WWE, you would climb to the top rope and act like you're the Macho Man, Randy Savage. Ooh, yeah. And from the top rope, you'd come down and drop that Macho Man elbow right onto the like button and the subscribe button. And that would be really nice. It's free for you to do that, and it helps us out a whole bunch, and we appreciate it. So, wow. We lost Main Event Mike, but we didn't have to lose everybody. I got you all close up now. You're not used to being, oh no, bright light. You know what? I want to invite, I'm feeling pretty good. I know that some Lion fans might be out there and they might want to come in and have a conversation. Maybe the Bear fans might want to have a conversation. I got a few minutes because my wife is downstairs and she is awesome enough to hook me up on Mondays to where I can put a little extra time in here. Because tonight, I know is going to be so loaded, packed full of people tonight for the open mic that I'm going to get to slide right into the background and do the producing thing. And Main Event Mike is going to take you on a journey. Oh, look at that.
What I don't get is why, you look at yesterday, they want to fire the DCs. You know what? Could it possibly be that both OCs just schemed really good games? If an OC schemes a really good game, it's harder on the DCs.
Well,
if you're getting line protection and they scheme right, what happens? It creates holes for running backs and wide receivers getting open. Both OCs in that game yesterday did phenomenal jobs. Point blank.
Correct. Correct. And here's the thing is like you can be skeptical. You can look at the back end, say, hey, we need some work back there. They need to tighten up those holes and stuff like that. But at least you're doing the correction on a week where you squeaked out with the win. You went on a road in a place that you haven't won in like since the Stone Age, like on the West Coast to win a game, to escape. Now you're coming back home. You're bringing in the Bears, which isn't it's a team you should beat. Like you have the question, you should win the game, but it is the NFL. So I'm not dumb enough to think that we're just going to steamroll you. We should, but that it's the NFL. Justin Fields could get hot. I could be on here next Monday going, oh my God, I can't believe Justin Fields.
It's my quarterback.
Well, and Russell, everyone,
and I'll do that.
And everyone makes a mistake. It's all about the quarterback. Chicago, that defense is getting better. And don't let the addition of Montez Sweat, slip you, because he got more pressures last week than the entire team, I think, had the whole season. So he set a Bears record for most pressures in a game, actually, by a Bear. So, and the entire backfield for the Bears is healthy. You've got all our corners and safeties are back. So that defense is looking good. We're missing one linebacker who is leading tackler on the team, and I think he's going to be back this Sunday. So you might face a fully healthy, functioning Bears defense that's been steadily improving all season.
Sure.
That's where you should be looking at. Forget the quarterback stuff in Chicago. Look at what's going on the defense right now.
Well, I'm not like from the offensive side. It's like I talked about this last week. I don't know if you listened, but it's the Lions are done at answering questions. We don't need to answer any more questions. The questions have been answered. It's the teams that we play that have to answer the questions. It's not what are we going to do about Montez Sweat, is what are you guys going to do about Taylor Decker and Penei Sewell and Frank Ragnow and Jonah Jackson coming downhill with David. But that's what I mean. I'm not shitting on you or anything, but for once in our life, we don't have to go, how are we going to, I don't know how it's more like,
I agree with you. I agree.
Be the Lions.
Yeah.
And if they can stop us from doing that, then maybe you'll win. But
no, I agree with you, Russell. I think my comment was, when it comes to this game, everyone's talking about Fields or the Bears offense. It's not the Bears offense, it's the defense that's the difference maker right now in Chicago. And it's funny because they're going to talk about Fields, they're going to talk about Bajan, and they're totally going to sleep on the defense when they discuss it. And it'll be interesting to see what people's mindsets or what happens once the game hits the dirt, so to speak. And it becomes, well, wait a minute, this defense is the impact, not the quarterback play as much.
And I can feel that. If you guys can stop us from running downhill, because I just think that we're just going to run downhill on you guys.
We're number 5
right?
on the run right now. I think our run defense is 5th in the league right now.
But but LA is pretty good at stopping the run. Tampa Bay was pretty good at stopping. Like the thing is like that the thing is like you go and you're going week to week, and these guys, as the season goes along, as defenses start to shift players in and out, as injuries and stuff happen, these stalwart offensive linemen are going out there. It ain't Goff. You got to worry about it. It's the offensive line going downhill, and whoever we hand the rock to. Like it don't matter. I mean, Craig Reynolds will run on you if they hand him the ball behind this offensive line, and it isn't the Bears. It's whoever they play, they can run on, because their best guys just match up against our best guys, and our best guys are on our offensive line. The best players on the Detroit Lions are on the line, the offensive line. And then everybody else is pretty good around it, but it starts right there. We got Sarah. Sarah wants to talk about this Minnesota win. What's going on, Sarah?
I don't know. I mean, it was like kind of weird seeing a quarterback that like can extend plays. Like,
yeah, you got a good one.
That's our quarterback.
It's my quarterback.
And Sarah, you've been waiting for that, because I know you've been anti Cousins for the longest, and I know you've been waiting for a guy like Dobbs.
Well, it's not that I was anti-Cousin. I just felt like that he took us as far as he could, and it was time to move on.
Yeah. Do you think that I heard talks about them wanting to extend Cousins now? What's going on there? Is that just BS
No,
or what?
I'm still on that train of I don't want to extend Kirk, especially because he's older with a really serious injury, and so it would be dumb to give him a big contract when he's coming back from a serious injury like that. And it's just time to move on.
So what's the contract situation with Dobbs? Is that just a 1 year? Was that a rental, or do you guys have him extended beyond this year? I don't know what the
I
deal
don't think
was.
they're gonna make any kind of decision like that until after the season to see how the season plays out.
No, what I'm saying is within a trade. I didn't follow the trade enough. What was the Arizona contract that got traded? Is what I guess is what I'm asking. Do you know if it was?
Don't know.
I'm gonna look it up or see if I can find it.
Yes, please. Ken is on our stat monitor right there. It's the Google machine. Oh God, we're having some fun today. And here's what we think about Packer fans right there. Let the butthurt flow through you as we bring Steve is real, to the stage. What's going on?
What's going on?
How you doing, man?
All right.
Say,
So Josh Dobbs is an unrestricted free agent at the end of the year. So this is a rental.
okay. So it was a 6th-round pick to rent Josh Dobbs till the end of the year. Yeah, you'll have a decision at the end of the season, Sarah.
Right now, this is interesting. His contract for the year was $2 million, but now his OTC valuation is at $30 million.
Oh.
just like that, it went up. So he's not young either. He's 28, so he's not a guy you're probably. But if you're, you might be right though for the Vikings because the Vikings aren't rebuilding. They're kind of still in a win it now-ish kind of mentality. So they have they have something to think about there when it comes to free agency and quarterbacks this year.
All right, you there? Let's see. You there, Sarah?
Yep. Sorry, I got disconnected.
Okay.
I'm on that AOL internet too.
AOL? What is that?
Before your time, Russell.
Oh. Whatever that. There we go. Yeah. Josh Dobbs, man, that's let me ask you this. If it were me, I would sign him to like a 2-year deal. If you could get him at like 2 years, $65 million with some incentives and stuff like that. Would you do that, Sarah?
For Dobbs?
Yes.
I would sign him, but I don't think I would do it for a 65.
Wait, is that too much or too low?
Too much for
Too much?
For this kind of sample only, because I mean that is way too much to give him for sample that
I ain't hate
that this much. I would do.
Don't hate the messenger, man. I'm just like pretend I'm like Jerry Maguire right here. I'm just negotiating for the guy, and if he comes in and he wins you games like that, you got to pay this guy 30. You're probably gonna have to pay him more than 30 million.
Well,
You're probably more like 40, but
I see maybe like 3 different scenarios. They missed the playoffs, which means they jettison Dobbs. They make the playoffs and win a game in the playoffs, so they re-sign him. Or God forbid they win the Super Bowl with Dobbs, then he's re-signed. I mean, I don't see how they don't, right? So I mean, there's really only one scenario in which or there could be a fourth. They make the playoffs, lose the first playoff game, and now, Sarah, if that happens, let's say, are you on a quarterback search?
I still want us to draft a quarterback for the future, a franchise quarterback. So regardless of what happens with Dobbs, I think that still should be our number one priority. Whether our rookie quarterback plays in September,
Michael
or
Penix
a year
Jr.
behind, I don't know, but I still want a quarterback drafted in a deep quarterback class.
what about you, Steve? I mean, is Green Bay looking for a quarterback yet?
Nope.
Nope. You still on the love train?
Of course.
Wait.
Of course.
I hit the wrong drop.
I mean, I like the thing is what I'm noticing about. I'm just this is his first year playing. And I'm just wondering if he's like, with his eyes, he's locked on to one receiver and the defense see that. Because when I was watching that game yesterday, like the one pass where he threw in the end zone to Musgrave, Wicks was wide open over to the right, up to the sideline by the pylon, wide open. And then the last play where he threw the interception, the very last play,
You state.
Dobbs was wide open on the left side. And I'm just wondering, like, you know, the defense just reads the quarterback's eyes, and they know where he's going. And I think this is one thing I believe Love is doing, and I don't think he's, you know, looking around like, you know, to get these defenses like, okay, where's he going? It's like they know where he's going with the ball. And this is what I'm trying.
Well, even though your team has absolutely no chance to win, here's to you anyway.
Me and Mike was talking about weeks ago when they played Denver, when he threw that ball deep down the field. Two guys was wide open. Two guys.
Well, so are you telling me that Love is not a good quarterback?
I'm telling you, Love is learning. He's still got to learn. You guys can have fun and whatever. That's fine. Love you guys. But to me, there's a lot to learn with this team. This is the youngest team in the NFL, no excuses, and there's still a lot to learn. A lot to learn.
They're committed to Love. They gave Love the contract. They're committed to Love for probably at least another year. And
right.
And look, I mean, what we see on instant replay and from an eagle-eye view that is the television view is obviously different than what's on ground level. You know, because there are bodies between Jordan Love and the open wide receiver, right? So I think that I don't think the Packers are done with Love.
No, they're not.
But at the same time, I think his window is kind of Justin Fields like next year, dude, show it or we're moving on. I think both quarterbacks in that regard could be in that kind of murky area, whereas Sarah's problem is much different because she's looking.
Well, her problem's better.
Yeah,
she's
her
got
problem's
a better
problem. but it's better for this season. But it's a bigger quandary for next season because it's like, all right, Quezzy, where are you putting your money at for next year? Are you re-signing Cousins or are you giving Dobbs, money on a small sample size as your starting quarterback? And is he another Geno Smith or is he not? So, I mean, that's kind of where, the only quarterback situation that might be solid right now is, Detroit's.
Yeah, I mean, I love the quarterback situation there. I mean, but I wanted to touch into this more of this Love quandary. Like, all of my smack talk is rooted in the reality of it, and I am going to represent a part of your fan base is the Go Pack Go fan base when you're pushing back on the whole Love thing. I understand if you want to keep him and everything like that, but not everybody from your fan base feels like that.
No, I mean, to each his own. I mean, everybody has their own opinion, but I just feel that, give him. He's learning.
So are you willing to give him, like, unapologetically, are you willing to give him to the end of the season with, like, there's zero chance that Clifford gets a shot? Or is there a certain game amount, a number? Like, let's say he loses 4 more games in a row. Are you willing to, like, well, how many games would it take for you to go, okay, let's see what we got in Clifford?
It's my quarterback. I won't say anything like that because it's not my choice to make. Whatever they do, they do.
Oh, come on, have some fun. We're on here. This is our opinions. Our opinions suck. So even if your opinion's shitty, throw it out there.
Okay. Thing is, I wouldn't do that to Love. Love's got to learn. He's got to learn.
Okay, there you go. So if you're a Green Bay Packer fan that's out there, you got Steve is real. Yeah, he's coming in. He is riding with Love all the way to the end of the season, no matter.
Damn right.
I have a question for Steve.
All right, go ahead.
So, but I mean, like, do you think it's worth sticking with Love when the quarterback class that's coming into this draft are really good quarterbacks? That's going to be there's going to be like 4, 5, 6 decent quarterbacks. And if you don't draft one of those when you have the opportunity to, is Love worth giving up that?
Well, the thing is, have these quarterbacks coming in, none of us, I don't care who you are, none of us can sit there and say that they're going to be better than any quarterbacks playing in the league. I mean, none of us can say that. Now, we might draft one maybe in the 3rd, 4th, 5th. Who knows?
I can say percentage-wise. One thing I can say is percentage-wise, if there's 5 quarterbacks that are good, that the percentage says if you draft them in the first round, that one of those quarterbacks is going to be a top 5 quarterback in the league, and the numbers do back that up.
I mean, I can even say this. There could be that one chance that Clifford could come in there and just shock and surprise the world.
He's a good quarterback. I watched him playing college. He's good, man.
That can happen. But I'm saying you can't hurt Love by, okay, you know what, we're done with you. Clifford, come on in. You're just going to hurt Love's confidence, his resiliency, everything if you do that. This guy's got to learn. He's been in the league for 4 years, but this is his first year playing. He's got to learn. He's got to learn all the fundamentals. He's got to learn the chemistry. He's got to learn all this. And if you take him out and put Clifford in, then what's that going to do to him? That's going to man, they gave up on me. Then or
but this is the NFL. I don't care.
Right?
This is a performance based. You ain't performing. Clifford got drafted in the 5th round, and if he gets his opportunity, you got to figure out what you got there too. And I understand that. Steve feels that he's riding with Love no matter what. I question it. Sarah questions it. And I think that even Ken questions that. What do you think out there? If you're a Packer fan, if there's another Packer fan besides A-Dub and Steve that exists on planet Earth right now, what do you think? Are you riding with Love? Or are you going to go with Clifford? Or are you just going to wait till next year? And why don't you just draft somebody, draft your future? Same thing with Viking fans. You got Josh Dobbs, and Kirk Cousins is going to get better. He is rehabbing to get better. He will have a recovery. Do you want them to re-sign him, or do you want to go with Josh Dobbs, or are you waiting out and grabbing one of these top end quarterbacks? What's the decision? And Lion fans,
I feel like
answer that too.
Seeing how Kevin O'Connell has unlocked Kirk to play better than he's ever played, seeing how Kevin O'Connell has worked with Dobbs these last 2 weeks, it gives me faith that if we draft a rookie quarterback, O'Connell's going to be able to groom that quarterback to become our franchise quarterback. So I want us to draft a quarterback.
The Vike Queen Sarah has spoken right there, and I love that call. That's a great call. You're going to make me have to change my drop. We don't want Kirk in there anymore. I can keep the drop, but
is he a free agent after this quarterback?
Yeah, they both are. They both are, Steve. That's Minnesota's quandaries. Where does Kwesi put the money? Because Cousins is a free agent, Dobbs is a free agent.
Wow.
And they have to decide, okay, are we in the window? Are we not in the window? And what are we spending? I think that's where. And at the beginning of the season, if you had talked to all of us on the show, we would have said, oh, they're definitely not in the window. But yet here they are, probably one of the hottest teams in the league right now. And they are still obviously in the window. Oh, yeah, they've been hot without their best wide receiver, mind you.
Rebuilt on the fly. Yeah, they got an awesome, explosive offense. And we even said this at the beginning of the season, too, that if Brian Flores can make this defense average, that this is going to be a dangerous team. And he has done that. He has taken a bunch of has-beens and nobodies and brand new dudes and made them and put together a smorgasbord. And they're a middle of the road good defense. In some aspects, they're top 10 in defense. And who would have thought it? We were wrong.
And Kwesi's also cleaned up the contracts. So they're going to start having more cap space relatively soon, unlike this year where they were basically broke. So, the Vikings have taken lemons and made lemonade.
Yeah. You like that?
There's a mouse.
Oh, I thought she was just excited. She was like, well, they never talk good about my team. I'm so excited.
No, there was a mouse climbing up my wall. I'm outside.
Oh my gosh. Oh, no, don't worry. That was just Kyler Murray. Welcome back, Kyler. Congratulations on your win. This is NFC North talk, football talk. This is football talk with Russell Wayne, and this is an every single weekday thing. 11 a.m. We're doing this thing. We're talking about these games right here, and the Lions are in uncharted territory right now at the top of the division. Vikings are chomping at our butts right now with their destiny in their own hands. Like as a Lion fan, I'm going to make you realize this right here. The Vikings are in a position that their destiny is in their own hands because they play us week 16 and 18. So if they win out, they can win the division. We don't have the division locked up yet. We're in this race where both teams are playing teams they should beat. The next 3 games, it's a race with 3 hurdles.
When was the last time you had your destiny in your hand in Detroit?
It was 2014. 7-2. We were 7-2 and 14. They went to the playoffs and lost to Dallas. They got robbed in Dallas. Whatever. I mean, like, it is what it is. They lost in Dallas. They did not win that game.
I mean, 92.
Like, honestly, I think, like, even though this year we have a worse record, this year's team is better than last year's team.
I don't know about that. I wouldn't agree with you right there. Last year's team was, I mean, defensive-wise, guys, if you had Brian Flores last year, then that team would have been with Dalvin Cook and that whole offense, you guys would have been dangerous.
Yeah, but if you look at it, our losses this year, we lost to good teams, but we never got blown out. All our losses last year,
right.
I mean, our wins were good, but our losses said a lot more about our team. And this year, all our losses have been close to really good teams. We haven't lost to a bad team.
Right. Well, I acknowledged this on that first win that you guys had in a division where I was just like, hey guys, this defense is a little bit better than we thought it was going to be. I mean, you really struck gold with Ivan Pace Jr. This kid is not only one of the best rookie linebackers, but he's one of the better linebackers in the league this year on his first year, and you didn't even draft him. So, yeah, undrafted free agent coming in, making plays. That's impressive for Kwesi right there.
You know, I think that's we've seen a lot of that lately in this league. I mean, the Bears are an example of it. The Giants are right now with their starting quarterback was a.
Oh, heck, Minnesota had one of the best undrafted free agents of all time through the years, and that was Chris Dolman.
Yeah, I mean, but lately in the last year or so, that trend is back. Because you know how the NFL, everything kind of goes, it's cyclic, right? And right now we're finding a lot of talent, undrafted talent that are starting on NFL rosters.
Right.
I think John Randall, wasn't he an undrafted? Too, and he's in the Hall of Fame.
Yep, John Randall.
And that's what it takes.
Undrafted?
Yeah.
You have to be able to, especially in the now, you have to be able to get talent on your team at a decent price because no one can. I mean, it's nice to have these big name players, but you can't have a roster full of these big name players. It's impossible. You have to, at some point in time, start drafting well or getting talent from other pools. And you can tell the teams that are good because they do it 2-3 years in a row, and all of a sudden you see that tide turn. The Lions have done that. And finally, it's not just on paper, it's in reality because the Lions have had a ton of good teams on paper. Oh gosh, we were going to win the Super Bowl so many years, but this is the first year where I've really felt like you got a team that can like beat all different types of teams. I can beat you in a shootout. If we get into a defensive battle, we can win that type of game. There's so many different ways that you can get into different situations and games. And it's like, sometimes we micromanage games and realize this is a 18 game, right? Like, this isn't just about 1 week to next. It's about surviving 18 weeks of regular season and then having enough troops left to get into the playoffs and continue the fight.
Like each team has so many guys on that roster that hasn't played yet that someday is going to come out and they're going to be like, wow, where did this guy come from?
Where'd they come from? Well, they were on the practice squad. They've been practicing with the team the entire time, all 8 weeks. You just haven't heard of them yet.
Yeah.
And you got a couple.
Every team has it.
Thielen was an undrafted free agent rookie when he came in to lead as well.
And I bet that he was repping behind a whole bunch of wide receivers that weren't as good as he was.
I mean, that's the trend right now. Look at Jack Sanborn's another good example.
Boom.
Chicago. He's a
there you
starter.
go.
He's a starter, and he's. I love watching Sanborn play too. But there's a lot of these undrafted free agents out there in the last 2 or 3 years who not only are making the clubs, they're starting.
Correct. Yep. The Lions' good example of that is Jerry Jacobs. Jerry Jacobs was an undrafted free agent in 2021. He worked his ass off, worked his way up the depth chart. Now he's the number 2 corner on the team behind Cameron Sutton. So, yeah, you got to find these guys anywhere you can get them. Waiver wire. Josh Reynolds. Josh Reynolds was picked up on the waiver wire from the Tennessee Titans. And, now he's the number 2, number 3 receiver. I don't know where you'd put him. He's just one of the plethora of weapons that Jared Goff has at his disposal.
I love the guys drafted from the 5th round down to undrafted free agents, and they come out to be perennial stars because, one, they're not getting paid all that much money to hurt the cap or nothing. And then these
late round picks,
right? And they're like Valentine, like our corner now, who's stepping up. Carrington Valentine, 7th round pick. Anthony Johnson Jr., 7th round pick. That's what I love to see.
Well, that's great. Let me say this out there. Let me throw this out to the people real quick, Steve, and then I'll let you continue. What is your favorite? So we're talking NFC North right here, but even if you're from a different fan base right here, who is your favorite undrafted free agent that you've ever had play for your team? And I don't even care if it's football. You can say this in basketball, whatever. I don't care. Whatever sport, best undrafted free agent, put it into the comments. That's a good one. It's a good one. Steve, go ahead.
Well, that's what I'm just saying. When everybody's so worried about the 1st round picks, 2nd round picks, and whatever. Right. That's fine, but that's top dollar. And when they come a bust, oh man. But when they're 5th, 6th, 7th round undrafted, and they whatever, like okay. But when those guys come out, I love to see the young guys come out and fight. Yeah. And and show that's those guys there.
I want to get paid too.
Right.
I'm going to earn my contract. Let's go.
Well, and I like to see the GMs, like, to Steve's point, like you get a 1st round pick that's a bust. Oh, the GM is he's hot trash. He's garbage. Yeah. What about the 3 starters that you love on your team that he got as undrafted free agent rookies or in the 5th and 6th and 7th round? Like, why aren't you lauding your GM for finding you a Jack Sanborn or a Brock Purdy or, one of these guys? They should, but they don't.
I love this man right here. As a Detroit Lion, this is, I mean, bringing the talent in. Any guy, you could talk a 3-year track record now, and you're talking 23 out of 23 of the draft picks are on the team or on the practice squad contributing to this team. That is unprecedented. That's I mean, I know there are other good GMs in here. I give Brian Poles credit, and I got to give Quessy more credit than I have given him before. I don't like his contracts. I don't like the way that I think that he pays too much in his contracts, but him to be able to get a talent and acquire talent, he's done a good job at that. But Brad Holmes, 23 out of 23, that's unprecedented. That even for Super Bowl teams, that's just crazy. That's crazy that there's that many.
Well, I mean, for me, I am giving Quessy a lot of credit too, because I mean, look at the Jets and look at us. We both lost our quarterbacks for the season, and the Jets have a way better defense than ours, and yet they chose to ride it with Zach, who is bringing their team down, and they're wasting that defense away. And Quessy is like, a lot of people were like, "Oh, their season's done." They're not going to do anything. And yet Quessy still went out and got a serviceable quarterback. And I think that really brought morale.
Isn't that the difference, though, Sarah? I mean, you got an overachieving defense on your team, but the fact that you went out and were able to find a serviceable quarterback is
it
the
shows
reason
the
you can be
team
where you're
that
at.
management hasn't given up on the team. They haven't given up on the season. And so, of course, the team's going to want to play harder and for the coach, But when you don't do anything and your quarterback goes down and you trot this guy in knowing that he cannot move the offense, what does that do for your team as a team building success?
Situationally, though, the Jets are in a different situation, having paid so much for Rodgers. They might not have wanted to spend more capital on maybe a Dobbs kind of guy who'd be a rental when their whole idea for them was bring in Aaron Rodgers, win now, but train Zach Wilson. And actually, you're seeing some of the effects. Zach Wilson is playing a lot better. Like, I don't know, a couple plays, like he's doing that Rodgers no-look thing. He did it last night, and it worked for him. He's improving, which is part of what the Jets wanted. So I think the Jets might look at like, well, you can't predict an injury. The Rodgers injury suffered. Let's stay on our course that we had, though. And as long as they're seeing the improvement in Wilson, which I think they are, I think they're content. And their fan base is like, okay, we get it.
Well,
their fan base is pissed as hell.
Can I ask you guys an opinion on something?
No.
If Rodgers is talking about coming back mid-December, and the Jets lose more and not have no chance of playoffs, what do they do with Rodgers?
He ain't coming back. If the Jets aren't a playoff contender, he ain't coming back. There's no reason for him to.
Okay.
Well, he ate some of that LSD Achilles brew, and now he's got it all healed up. He's ready to go. Jordan says Vikings extend Dobbs, Bears sign Cousins and move on from Fields. Oh, I love this. I haven't been keeping up on the comments. We had such a good conversation. I was just having some fun right there. So sorry, I haven't been in these comments, and there've been some good ones in here. Lions sweep the Bears. There you go. Uriel Jackson. Thank you for the comment right there. It seems that the defense struggles changing it up, playing man. Okay, I'm trying to get back in here. Right there. I don't know if I like that call right there. Cousins goes to the Bears.
That won't happen.
I wouldn't see that. Honestly, I wouldn't see it happen even from Cousins' side, because I think Cousins at 45 years old or whatever. I think he's 35, right?
Yeah, he'll be 36 when the season starts.
Okay. So he's 36. He'll be a 36-year-old guy. He's looking to go to somebody like the Jets or like the San Francisco 49ers, where you can drop a veteran in and have a good defense.
So talking about Rodgers in December. So I'm looking at the conference standings in the AFC right now. Right now, the number 7 seed in the AFC, you're going to be shocked by this one maybe, is the Texans. On the outside looking in, right now, the Bengals, the Bills, the Colts, the Raiders, the Chargers, and the Jets are at 13 at 4-5, probably because of tie breaks. But they're only a game out because the Texans are 5-4. So if you go from 7 to 13, there's some movement. So right now, if they can keep pace and be within a game, I think Rodgers comes back and he plays and they make the push to get in the playoffs. Because we all know once you get into the dance, it's a whole new season. But what's shocking to me right now is that the Texans, who had the second they only won 3 games last year, is now the 7th seed, and the Bills and the Bengals, 2 perennial powerhouses in the AFC, are on the outside looking in.
It's interesting, isn't it? You're seeing the guard turn around, because a lot of these guys went after these giant names in skill position, while the other teams that seem to be creeping up on them went all mean and offensive and defensive lines. And it looks good on the outside, but when you get into a big, nasty fight, you may fall short. Fred Jackson says, if it's my decision, the Vikings re-sign Cousins to 2 years, then draft a quarterback this season. Dobbs is temporary to get through this season. If he plays well, keep him as a QB2. That's an interesting take right there. I'm gonna give you a Kirk on that because that is possible that they re-sign both of them.
What incentive do we have for bringing Kirk back if Dobbs is serviceable?
And it comes down to this.
You have two quarterbacks.
Money.
I mean, you want a quarterback that can win if a quarterback goes down. If Dobbs proves that he can win games without Cousins being there, then you have two good quarterbacks. I mean, I could see them repaying, like Dobbs has made $2 million. So let's say you re-sign Kirk Cousins to like 2-year deal. Let's say 32, 33 million or whatever. You get him at a nice deal. And then you re-sign Dobbs at a $6 or $7 million deal, triple his money. And then you have two serviceable quarterbacks. I think that's what Fred's trying to say there.
Or we could sign Dobbs for cheap, get rid of Kirk, and use that money to build the trenches.
I mean, that's true too.
Smart.
That's
smart.
true.
She's smart.
But Fred, that does. Thank you for the comment, Fred. Green Bay needs an O-line. Well,
yeah,
I think so. Right? Have they been failing on you?
Bakhtiari's contract. Has he got 2 years? Is he still under contract next year, Bakhtiari?
No.
This is the last year?
Yeah, he will be gone after this year.
Yeah.
That's their albatross right now. They need.
I'm tired of this damn debacle.
It's hard to find a left tackle, man.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I want Joe Alt from Notre Dame.
Hey, in the zone podcast, stroll down. Catch us on YouTube right there with Sarah. Yeah. Hey, how are you coming on that? Are you making a page up?
He's a Vikings podcaster, but there's this ongoing joke that he's a Lions fan. So whenever I see him on, I'm like, hey, undercover Lions fan, what are you doing talking about the Vikings?
Oh, okay. Well, we are looking for that Vikings podcast or whoever wants to partner with us now that we have some influence through our networks right now. Our own personal page is reaching over 3.6 million people. So if you
those
have
from
some
Detroit.
suggestions. Yeah, those are from Detroit, but we also go into Mike the Bear fans. That's the Chicago area. That's like another few million people there, Chicagoans, right? And yeah, we want to be a network. The main event is a network that, I mean, hopefully we end up filling up our whole schedule with a bunch of talking heads talking football about their favorite teams. There we go. Interceptions and turnovers kill Green Bay. That is it.
Oh, that reminds me, Steve. So my question was, so if you say you want to keep Love to see what Love becomes, then isn't it your GM's responsibility to give him the tools he needs to see what he becomes? Because when you have no veteran receiver there to help your young receivers, how are you going to see how Love develops when you don't have anybody for him to throw the ball to have a safety net? Because when he needs that go-to throw for like 3rd and 10, he has nobody to throw it to that he's going to be sure that guy's going to come down with the ball. And so isn't it your GM's responsibility to provide him that then?
Well, yeah, and that's what he's doing. Because for one, like this year, Russell said it over many times, we ain't really got the money. When we ripped the Band-Aid off with Rodgers, and after this year, that $40 million is going to be gone and everything else.
That question right there rivaled a Ken Doby question right there. That was 37 seconds. That was a 37-second question she asked right there. I was wondering if she was going to get it out right there, but I think I can answer it with this right here.
And I told him, thank you, baby. And it's for my favorite lady. Well, I gotta go. They just let me know that I could pick up my Mercedes.
You could become a Mercedes, Steve.
Well, like that's funny, but like I said, I know what the Packers are doing. I know what the GM's doing. With us trading Rasul Douglas and getting an extra draft pick, he's building ammunition. A first, 2 seconds, 2/3. He's going to be able to move up and down in the draft to get his guys. We ain't got right now this year, we ain't got the cap room or nothing, anything. After this year and so on, things should look different.
Yeah, you want house money. You want house money.
Do you have faith in your GM though? Because I mean, no offense, but your defense is full of first round picks, and our defense looks better than yours, and we have nobody on our defense.
Hey, I can't. You know what? Hey, Sarah, you make a lot of good points. You do. But like I said, I know it takes years to build a team. It ain't going to happen in 1 year. There's just no way it's going to happen. And like when you were saying earlier about Van Ness, no, I love the Van Ness pick because for one, Preston Smith is going to be gone. He ain't going to be here much longer. And that guy is going to, that's going to fill a void, a hole right there. So
my point to that was like, don't you think you could have gotten Van Ness like late in the later rounds though? Like, I just felt like your team is so young that you needed somebody to come in and help you right away. And wasting that pick on Van Ness did nothing for your team.
Well, I mean, I see your point. But like I said, I don't know how they do their draft board. I mean, it's the way they do things. It's just going to take, to me, it's just going to take some time. It's going to take time to build this team up again.
Yeah, I understand that. But I mean, like, out of all four teams, all three of us, our first rounders are are playing in the game, helping our team out, while yours is a project. So what was the point of using a 12th pick on a project that you can have drafted him in the later rounds? That's what projects are for, in the later rounds.
Well, right, but
Sarah don't mess around. She comes in with the hard-hitting question. She's coming right at you, right at your throat, Steve.
And I'm not saying we don't have draft busts. We do too. That's I'm just
like I said, nobody knows what these players. I mean, if we would have took another guy at the 13th pick, how do we know what that guy would have done?
I mean, yeah, the draft is the draft is like going to Vegas, right? You're
Right.
going to win some, you're going to lose some.
Exactly.
And I think Gutekunst, Gutekunst needs to get some credit because he had the foresight to draft the quarterback in the first round to prepare for the eventual leaving of Rodgers. Now, where Gutekunst's plan kind of got screwed was Rodgers hung around longer than I think Gutekunst or anyone thought he would. So, Gutekunst, I don't think he's on the hot seat because LaFleur's not on the hot seat. I don't think.
Gouda guy.
Yeah, Gouda, the chief
Gouda.
guy. I mean,
Gouda.
well, to Sarah's point, though, like Sarah, maybe for Green Bay, it's like, all right, we know that Love is good. We're gonna have an off year. Let's not spend a ton of money on a veteran wide receiver. Let's let this group of young guys grow together as a core. That could be one way of looking at it. That could be.
But then it's like, then go get a number one bona fide receiver, draft one, because you're drafting these like 3rd, 4th, 5th round picks that are gonna take time to develop.
I need my bell on you guys right here. So first of all, I want to say, Steve, you are a fantastic Packer fan, and for you to even come in here on this, I mean, you knew it. I mean, everyone's gonna come in and badmouth. I appreciate you being a good sport about all this, and and letting everybody ask you these hard questions, and that's in response right here to in the zone podcast. Basically, Steve knows his team is screwed. I believe that. I think Steve is being a man and he's owning up and he's still showing that he's a Packer fan regardless of what the outcome is. And I appreciate you for that, Steve.
Hey, this is fun. This makes my morning fun to spending time with you guys and talking football.
Yep.
I mean, this is fun. This is great, and I'm not afraid to say my piece. I mean, if you want to talk about bad draft picks, I mean, Russell, you want to know this. Back in the day when we had one of the worst draft busts ever in Tony Mandridge, when we could have had Barry Sanders.
Oh yeah,
and we took Mandridge.
But you get to watch it come full circle here, guys. If you've been watching this show long enough, you'll remember, like, even from last year, we had all these Packer fans, even when we were only doing it one show a week. When we were 1-6, they were all here. We were good sports about it. So that's the rise and fall of your team is fun. You know, if Ken Doby all of a sudden the Bears start winning, they win the next 10 games, he has the right to come onto this show and pump his chest out. Oh, he can come on here and do that. Like when your team is winning, that's kind of like how this show works. You get to win on this show for a little bit. And Steve is such a good sport that when the Packers start winning again, you know, I don't know how long it's going to take, you know, if he's still watching the show 10 years from now, then he'll get to have his day in the sun right there.
Dude.
So
Zing, 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 zing.
I like that. But where the real zinging happens is tonight for the NFC North open mic. And I want to invite you to that.
I should be there.
Right here. Yep, there you go. NFC North open mic tonight at 7 p.m. hosted by Main Event Mike. He was on here about a half an hour ago. He joins me on the morning show right there. Hey, Ken Doby, go ahead and plug that show of yours.
Hey, every Wednesday night, 7:30 Central, the right time, Central Time, 7:30, the Hallis Hall Report. And we should have a fun show this week as it's a war week with the Lions. So join us on Wednesday. And then also Sunday mornings pregame, 11:30, to be followed by the Bears game streamed live.
And as always, right here, we are this is the Football Talk with Russell Wayne, streaming live into the Detroit Lion News, in the Mike the Bear fans page right there. And we are approaching 10,000 as well as Mike is too. So both the Hallis Hall and the Villain Squad are both approaching this 10,000 follower mark right now. So please go follow these pages because it's absolutely free for you to do that. It doesn't do anything. And you know, even if you don't want to get notifications from us, you can just turn them off. But you following the page, that helps us. It's free. And if you're watching the video on YouTube right now, then reach down and hit that like button or hit that subscribe button. That's the nice thing to do. And, you know, we don't need to have reasons, but it is what it is. But we appreciate you guys coming on here. And I'm going to leave you with the way that I love to leave you, which is the blessing, because it is my faith. I'm a believer in God. So my faith, my family, and football, in that order right there, because we use football to bring our families together. We don't let football use us. So use that. May the Lord bless you, and may the Lord keep you, and may the Lord shine his face upon you until we meet again tonight for NFC North Open Mic. Again, thank you. What another great show that was right there. Thank you for being part of it, especially if you're waiting all the way to the end for the nightcap right here. Those of you that know the Marvel endings, they know that we do this.
Bonus scene.
Oh gosh. Well, for everybody that was watching it on like Detroit Lion News or the Villain Squad, I'm throwing the YouTube link. Throwing the YouTube link into the comments right there. If you jump right over to that stream and hit that like button, I would appreciate that. That's awesome if you would do that. Had fun. It's always fun when you're coming in on a Victory Monday. You know, it ain't so good for the Packers, but I'm feeling a certain way about the Packers right now because we've been nice to the Packers the whole time. In here, we've had fun the whole time. We never take it too seriously. When I see Packer fans take it too seriously and try to like end friendships and act a certain way because their team's losing. It ain't my fault. Your team sucks. I'm sorry. I've dealt with a shitty team so long in my life. I didn't really think it was that big of a deal.
Russell, it reminds me, no matter how bad your team is today, it can always be better tomorrow. I think that's the takeaway there.
But there's some Packer fans that are out there that I would love to be close to, and I thought were close to me, and let their team losing make it so they don't want to talk to me anymore and kick me out of all the groups and all the stuff. And I don't know what kind of stories are out there, but it's like I like people. I like football fans. I like talking to people about football, and I'm not going to stop that. I'm not in a woe is shame. It's just a shame for me because I love to have fun and do this, and I'm having fun right now. I was having fun when we were losing because it was cool people, But hey, Dan, I took care of that thing for you.
Do I have to worry about an FBI raid now on conspiracy charges and stuff like that for Dan? Is he paying mob or something? I mean, is that what you're trying to say there?
I'm just saying that the villain, you're one of 32, and at 31 teams, you're a villain, and I don't care, and we're comfortable in that skin. That's our MO. That's the way it feels right here. Check out this one.
I murdered a rock, injured a stone, hospitalized a brick. I'm so mean I make medicine sick.
We need to take that toy away from you. I can only imagine what you're going to do for the rest of the season.
Oh, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. It's like these Packer fans, like that. If they were to say something like, "Oh yeah, we're coming back. We're going to kick your guys' ass. You wait. We have everything."
You serious?
Are you serious? I mean, come on right here.
Life is not that complicated. You get up, you go to work, you eat 3 meals, you take 1 good shit, and you go back to bed. What's the fucking mystery?
I love George Carlin.
I miss George Carlin. I do.
I got to see him live once in Galway show. I guess that means I'm old. I saw him live. I must be old.
It sucks for Lion fan to watch TJ Hawkinson play so much better in Minnesota.
I was never in this for the money. But it turns out that the money was an absolute necessity for me.
It's not the first time a player's been traded or gone somewhere as a free agent and rocked out the following year. I mean, it happens. Thielen's having a good year for Carolina. Actually, he's had a real good year for Carolina.
Oh, this was it.
There's no one that can match me. My style is impetuous. My defense is impregnable. And I'm just ferocious.
Well, I don't know about the defense being impregnable after this last one.
My defense is impregnable. Oh gosh, it's so much. And then the whole thing's it's got "don't be hating" on it. Like, oh, this is too much. I'm gonna have some for tonight. I gotta make some more for tonight, but we're gonna have some fun tonight.
Yeah, I know what you're doing for the day. So I gotta wait for my wife's coming home. She had an emergency trip, so family thing. So
yeah, I'm gonna do the same thing. So we're gonna end this. So Ken and I, we stayed all the way through the nightcap right here, or I guess the day cap, whatever you want to call it. But thank you everybody for watching. Yeah, the coffee cap. So we're gonna do the Doctor Strange ending right here, the Marvel ending right here, and there's no better way to end than with some Green Bay tears.
It's not fair. They were so happy. It's not gonna gonna be okay.
What's up, y'all? This is Ifeatu Melifonwu, safety for the Detroit Lions. And I just want to take some time out to give a big shout out to Russell Wayne and Main Event Mike from the Detroit Lions Villain Squad. It's a fan page and a podcast. And I just want to say I appreciate the support of me and my team. And I encourage everyone to go check out their podcast and check out their fan page. Go Lions.